it's Lee from colouringqueen.net, and today I thought I would colour from Spirits of Easter by Karolina Kubikowska. I've reviewed that set of postcards before, and I thought today what I'll do is I'll colour in this little postcard. And excuse my hands, I've been playing with my Brusho water crystals. I've been swatching, I've got 5 of them, and I've been swatching them out, and they stain your hands, something shocking. I've washed them that many times and they're still all stained completely. So today I thought I'd use my Tombow water-based markers. I haven't used these for years. When I first got them, I used to use them all the time, and then I kind of went out of favour with them, so I thought I'll use those today. So the Tombow you can put straight on the page and you can add water to it, or you can put tip to tip on the pens, or you can scribble some out on a bit of plastic and pick it up with your brush. Or you can even do that from the nib of the pen if you wanted to. So, just make sure my brush is clean. I'm going to scribble this out a bit on the plastic. Now I haven't used these for so long, but they've still got pigment in them. And the good thing is that there's 2 tips on them, so you've got your large and your small tip. So I thought we'll put some of this blue in the back here. And it's very faint, that blue. We might need to go a bit darker. And I'll just put some here so that you can see. This one's more of a mauvey colour, but that's okay. And you just pick it up and push it around. Actually, I don't mind that mauve now that I'm using it. So I might use that one. So I hope you're all having a good day today. I've been playing around with my Brusho crystals for most of the day, making such a mess because they really stain everything. I've only got the 5 colours, which are basically all blues and greens. That basically I bought them to do oceans and scenes like that, you know, large expanses of water. And I figured all the blues and greens would be great for those sorts of mermaidy type things, but when I was playing around with them today, I really feel like I might need like a yellow or a pink or something as a bit of a contrast, so I'll keep an eye out for when they go on special, because they're pretty expensive for the little things, but because they're crystals, they last forever. You just sprinkle a little bit on like salt and they really last a long time. With these Tombows you can actually wet the paper first and then use them, but I tend to like doing it this way. And also these postcards aren't on watercolour paper, although it is lovely and thick paper. And you just got to quickly make sure that you swoosh it out so you don't get any tide marks there on the page. So I might bring back that other blue. Yeah, so I played with the Brushos for way too long today. I just got carried away. And, you know, should have been doing other things and got too carried away. But that's okay. I want it to look kind of dreamy, but I'm not sure if I'm there. And if you've got too much, you can just pick it up and move it. Yeah, but of course I had some of the brusho diluted on the table in a palette, and of course Millie had been asleep all day under the dining room table, but of course she came in and walked straight across the green, bright green, diluted brusho, which you can see how it's stained my hands, but I think it's all on her paws because I've checked on her under paws, which I need to grab her and wipe it off because I don't want her licking that. But she's disappeared and I've got to find her. But it's not on the actual fur. Well, I couldn't see it. So hopefully she didn't stain her beautiful little paws. She's got the most beautiful feet. I call her Bigfoot because they seem to be huge, her paws, but I think it's because she's fluffy. We also call her man hands after that Seinfeld episode of where he went out with the model that had really big hands. We call Millie man hands because she seems to have very large hands for such a beautiful little lady. We've got so many names for her and Charlie. Like, one of our favourites is Cat Cat. I call her Cat Cat all the time because whenever you open the front door, she tries to escape, and she gets to the bottom of the stairs and she doesn't want to go anywhere anyway. I mean, why would she? She's got it made here. But we're always so used to yelling out, "Cat Cat," you know, to say that she's on the run. And then we call her Meow Meow because, you know, when she wants breakfast or dinner, it's meow meow. And then we call her Man Hands because of the giant paws. But, yeah, she's got quite a lot of little nicknames from us. The good thing about these Tombows is that you don't have to wait the amount of time for things to dry that you would with traditional watercolours. Now I think since I bought my set they've actually got some new colours in the range, which when I bought these, I think I coloured in an entire book with them. I just was absolutely mad on them. You go through phases with your art supplies, I think. And then, I don't know, I went off them, I guess, and I haven't used them for at least a year, which is very remiss of me because I really do like them. But thankfully, they haven't dried out from my lack of love and neglect. Now the page is buckling a little bit, but that's okay. I don't mind the buckle. I know some people do, but even though I'm a little bit OCD on things, I don't know, I like the whole organic-y look of it. Might introduce another blue to this background, maybe purple, no, maybe blue, maybe grey, maybe this one. We'll see what happens. I should have swatched these out, and as I said, I've had them for years and I was meant to review them, but I never got around to it, like so many things. It's kind of my catchphrase. I should have that as my tagline. Never got around to it. So actually I'm liking that grey. I'll put some more of that over there. And maybe a bit over there. And as well as this large tip, there's also a finer tip at the end. And the good thing about the Tombow is that you can buy individual replacements, which is always good. You can also use the blender pen, which I used to use a lot to blend out my pencils, but you can also use it to blend out these markers, because it's part of this marker set. But then they used to dry up quite a bit because I used to use them quite a lot. So I made my own blender fluid rather than keep buying the replacements. And that recipe is up here on YouTube somewhere if you are interested. I make it in a pot and then I dip the pen into it, or you can buy a empty Copic mark or a Molotow marker and do the same sort of thing, and just pour it in with one of those little pipette things. Now if you put too much water on this, it is going to start to pill up, but again I'm not really bothered by that because it does tend to sort of add to the watercolory charm. Or is it just me that thinks that? I do like this grey though, so I think I might put a bit more of that in somewhere else. Yeah, so I'm going to have to catch Millie at some stage and clean her little paws off. I've got these little pet wipey things that you can use. They're like baby wipes, but they're for pets. So I'm going to have to get those out. They're meant to be safe so that if she licks them, you know, she won't hurt herself. And wipe her little feet from where she stood in the paint tray. I think she was disappointed that she wasn't being asked to be in a film. And she took off in a huff. And Charlie, we've got a lot of nicknames for as well. We call him Charlie Brown, which his name's not Charlie Brown, but we sometimes do the whole Charlie Brown. Barley Sugar, because it's Charlie Barley. Mr., because he's a little boy. Mr. Magoo. I don't know where that one came from. I sometimes call him Small Dog, because he is a small dog. Yeah, so we can't seem to stop ourselves from giving the pets nicknames. What I want, you can mix all these together, so what I might do is get a bigger bit of plastic. And Tombow do sell these bits of plastic. They just sell it as a plastic sheet. But really you can just use any bit of packaging, that's what I do. So you can scribble it out on a bit of packaging, add some water. And then just pick it up. You can also pick it up with the Tombow brush if you want to. And so I might maybe add in this. You can also put it on and then use the spray. You can directly spray onto the page, and I'm not going to do that because I don't think the card is going to take too much water on it. So I don't really want to do that. So I hope you're all having a good day today. I caught up on some YouTube videos this morning while I was experimenting with my brush eye. It's that Fairy Fabery is coming up pretty quickly, and there's so many stream is colouring in fairies, which I love fairies, so I'm going to have to go through that list and see which ones I can make live, or at least make a little bit of it. And the good thing is that you can always watch it on the replay anyway. It would be nice to be there. It's just that the time zone's always, you know, it's usually the time when I'm actually asleep. But on my blog there's a whole, on the event calendar, there's a whole Excel spreadsheet that the streamers have prepared showing all the time zones and who's on, so I'm sure there's going to be some, you know, fabulous pictures coming out of this. And I know everyone's been hearing about the bushfires in Australia, but where I am, it's actually been storming and raining, and it's about to rain yet again, so I hope it doesn't interfere with my audio. But at least the rains that are hitting a lot of Australia at the moment are putting out some bushfires, but you know, not all of them obviously, but you know, it's better than nothing. But where we are, you know, I've had to sort of batten down the hatches a little bit and bring in things that might blow away in the storm. So I reckon it could turn into a cyclone. And last time we had a bit of a cyclone here. I lost 2 trees and I had to get the arborist to remove one that had snapped because it wasn't safe. So it cost a fortune last time we had the tail end of a cyclone here, so I hope we don't go through that again, because quite frankly I don't have the budget for that. No, as you can guess, Trouble is awake, trying to keep her out of the film. So I don't know if she's still got those green little paws or how much green she's got on her paws. The wind is really picking up here. The other night when the wind was like this, I lost my internet connection, which seems to be the running thing, and I pay so much for internet per month. Millie, come on, you sit over there. You sit at the back and watch. And then every time there's a storm or something, I lose my internet. So I had to do all my commenting and stuff off the phone the other night. No, Millie, come on, over, come on, beautiful. So I think Millie's got an admirer actually. I was out in the garden today. There's this Siamese cat in our fence line, and just sitting in the front garden. Here's Millie got a little friend, or comes to visit. It had a little blue collar on, so I think it's a little boy, which she's been desexed, so no boyfriends for her. And I don't want her to have a boyfriend, even if she wasn't desexed. She's too pretty. I don't want her going outside. Well, it's not that she's too pretty. It's just that when we adopted her, one of the things was that you had to keep her in your yard and keep her inside and whatnot, which is, you know, fair enough, because in Australia the cats tend to chase the birds and the wildlife and whatnot. And she is a, you know, an exotic breed, so people might want to steal her. If they knew how hard she was to brush, no one would want to steal her, but you never know. There's people, strange people around. But when I was a kid, all the cats always lived outside, but over the years, in places that we've lived, they've had laws about cats not being outside and whatnot, which is fine. To be honest, she tries to escape and she runs down the stairs and she gets to the bottom, but she never wants to really go anywhere further. I think she just wants to explore, so I don't think she's bothered about going outside. But all the cats that I had, you know, during my childhood and growing up, and you know, when I lived before I got my beautiful little dog, they always went outside, but that was the thing back then. So I might put more of this blue down here. I've got to say I'm really enjoying using my Tombows, and I can't remember why I stopped using them. Must have just wanted to use something else, I guess. But they're just so... they're really versatile, which is good. And you've got that little point as well that you can use. I feel like I need some darker blue on this though, so hopefully I'll find something soon that's dark enough just to add in a bit, splush in a bit of colour here. So I'm trying to think what to have for dinner tonight. I used to do these meal plans, and I did it for ages, and then when we were trying to get the house all nice for David's mum and brother when they came up at Christmas, the meal plans went by the by-side, and now I never know what I'm making, and so I've said to David, we've got to go back to it, because it was just so much easier buying the groceries for what you needed. Plus we end up having these boring conversations all the time about what's for dinner, and my attention span can't handle it. I hate the what's for dinner conversations. Plus, because I'm home and I haven't found a job yet, I'd rather make things in the morning for dinner and just be ready for whenever we want it when David comes home, than have these conversations at 5 o'clock and then have to go up to the shops. It's such a waste of time. I really cannot for the life of me think why I stopped using these, because these are just so easy to use. And I've just got my old water brush. I've got newer ones, but this one's a bit old and mangy, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think. It's still working properly. It's still pushing out water when I need it. So I might just soften this one up a bit. And the good thing about it is you can go back in, and if you've got like tide marks or watermarks, you just go back in and smush it about with a bit of water to get rid of any harsh lines that you may have, if they bother you. Might just a bit more blue. So I'm thinking maybe pink flowers. Yeah, I think pink flowers. Pink and purple flowers maybe. So, I think I might go for a couple of purples, maybe a bright pink. We'll see how that looks. So I've already used that side, so I'll use this side if I need to dilute anything. So the good thing is Karolina does most of this work because she does all this beautiful texture. And I hope I'm still in frame. I've got Millie over on the other side. And I'm actually sitting back from the picture quite a lot, so I will be going out of the lines, mainly because I broke my tripod and I can't get it to sit properly. You can always dab a bit of that up if you feel you've put too much on. I think that purple might be a bit too purpley. Don't know. Can you be too purpley? I think maybe we'll just do the purple over here and see. And you can use these as a marker afterwards and just come in and add more colour if that's what you wanted to do. So I probably will go in afterwards and put just a bit more colour in there. But we'll just do the base sort of wash at the moment, because I'll need to be sitting closer to the page in order to get the finer details in, I think. I'm just too far away. So yeah, I haven't worked out about this tripod yet because I'm thinking of changing my phone. And so then I don't know if this tripod will fit. And because it's broken, I don't know whether I should try and fix it or whatnot. Like David has tried, and he gets it into certain spots, which is great for filming, say, book reviews, but not for doing pictures of colouring because I have to sit far too far away. And so I'm just sort of really colouring in the dark. So I have splooshed a little bit out of the lines over there, but again, I don't think with watercolour it really matters. And the good thing with Karolina's artwork is you can always go in with a black marker and just add more black to it. where she's done the lines. And you can put a few colours down, and you can do all sorts with the Tombows. They're really, really versatile. But I would need to be a little bit closer to the page than what I am. I think that's another flower. Do you ever wonder sometimes, you know, if you're colouring a flower or if it's meant to be something else? I just realised there I've missed a bit of sky because I thought it was a leaf and it's not. So I don't think I even thought about it, to be honest. I thought it was probably maybe part of the flower. I always end up missing things or getting things confused, especially when I'm looking at them from a distance, like now. I probably put too much blue on there, so just picking it up a bit and moving it. And of course you could tape this card down to prevent it buckling as much, but you know, it doesn't bother me. I know some people get bothered, but it doesn't really worry me, the buckling. I just sort of think of that as the charm. So I like the background. I'm not too sure about the flowers, but I can always add in a bit more colour later. I think I'll just dab in a bit for this little moth thing here. Do a little bit of yellow, I think. And you can just blend these together, these markers. You don't need to add water if you don't want to. With these stems, I'm thinking sort of like this colour. Let's see what this looks like. I've put too much water on this, but that's okay, I don't mind it. So I think I'll do the bottom part of the buds in this. I don't know why, but I always end up holding caps. I don't know why I don't just put them down. There seems to be some weird reason I hold on to them. I don't know what I think's going to happen if I let them go. So I'm just taking a bit of colour from over here and putting them over here. And it's raining outside now. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll just add a few more strokes to that one. Now it is peeling a bit, but I'm able to pull the peel off with my brush. So that's good. And because these have got a little small tip, they're good for doing those fine lines as well. Right, I might just use the fine tip to do the stems. I hope you're not seeing the top of my head, and if you are, I apologise. So that's those fine little bits done. Maybe I'll do these ones as well. Oops. Let's soften that one up a bit because it looks a bit harsh. Just come in with that brush. Yeah, so I hope you're all having a good day. Today when I was catching up on some YouTube videos, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to multitask, so I was playing with my brushes, and then I was writing a review and doing a bit of research and a bit of cleaning. I tend to do all these sorts of things while I'm listening. Often I'll clean. That's a big one because I can hear the TV, the computer from a lot of places, so I'll often just, you know, clean, and I can listen to it while I'm cleaning. No, Millie. You're... No, sweetheart. Come on. Come on. Move your beautiful little body. Move your beautiful little butt. You go sit there, darling, because I don't want you getting this on your paws. It's bad enough that you helped with the brush, eh? You don't need everything on your paws today. So there's new Tombow colours since I bought my set, so I'm going to have to have a look and see what they are and see if I need to expand my set. But the thing is, when I bought them, they came with the tray that they're sitting in, and so then I'd have nowhere to store any extras. But I think there's another 6 or so that they've brought out, new colours. But I don't know. I don't know if I need them. Have a look, see what they are. And I won't be getting them, you know, right now. But I do have a gift card that's burning a hole in my pocket, so they might be something that I can get with that. I think add a little bit of lighter green to some of these, because some of them are little leaves. With the Tombows, they've got colours that are really close, so that you can blend them together without having a harsh line. But in some ways that's annoying too, because you don't have as much variety because they're quite close tonally to each other. Now while I'm going through this, I am scooping off some of the paper that's peeled, because I am putting on the marker and then working it with the water to dissolve it, so it's not like when previously I was using the Caran d'Ache and I had already dissolved it or wet it before I put it on these postcards. Now I'm actually working this paper, and it's not watercolour paper, so it's doing pretty good. But it is pilling a little bit, but because of the texture in Karolina's work, you don't really notice it. Do you, Mill? I think these leaves might need like a dash of lemon or something. So I'll just scribble some out, just to give it a little bit of extra colour there. Trying to avoid the cat tail. It's very hard to colour around this cat. But as I've said many a time, I take whatever love I can get from her whenever she wants to offer some up for me. Charlie, my little dog, you know, he's a completely different beast, and he's happy to give me loving all the time. Follows me everywhere and sits under my feet all day. He's just the most sweetest little dog in the world. Just adorable. I know everyone always thinks that their pet is the sweetest, but no, he really is. He'd win prizes for it if there was a prize. I do get worried though, because he's 14 at the moment. You know, worried that that's a good age for a Maltese Terrier. Come on, move it, Missy. I've got a little bit of a green splotchy there, but I don't think it matters. Don't tell anyone. It's too hard working around the cat. I don't want all these leaves to be the same colour. It's going to have a bit of variation, so just dab a bit of colour onto that. And you can pick up the extra colour from the leaves if you've put too much on, and you can just put it on somewhere else. My greens is not working too good, so I'm going to have to test it on some paper after I finish this and see if it's dried out. But you can always take the tube out and sort of add some alcohol. I've put way too much water on that poor little leaf. And some of this I need to wait till it dries and then go over it again, because I've got too much water on there. When I was using these years ago, it was mainly mandalas that I was colouring in with them. So I had a book from Hungary from Evelyn's Illustrations, I think it was, and it was all printed on cardstock, and it was really beautiful. And I think I've nearly finished that book. Did a lot of pictures in it. And I use these for a lot of the pictures. So I didn't realise my camera had actually stopped, and what happened was when I stopped the camera, Millie came and walked across the leaves, and she's got a thing for green today, and so that became all smudged, and I had to use water to try and spread it out a little bit. So I'm going to call it finished on the leaves, and I might add a bit more green up here just so it flows with what it looked like to go with what, you know, Millie's walked through it. So Millie walked across the green in the picture when the camera ran out. So what I've done is I've added in a ton more green to kind of balance the picture out and make it look like it was meant to be there all along. And I guess this is what Bob Ross calls the happy little accidents. I don't really see Bob Ross in Australia, but I have heard the expression before with regard to his artwork and happy accidents. So I don't know if he had a cat that used to walk across his pages, but so I thought rather than you know, throw it away and get huffy with it, I'll just try and add more green to it where the blue was initially, just so that it looks like it was meant to be there all along, basically. And you know, that's Millie's artistic choice. So I think that's all the green that I'll put in the background, and what I'll do is I'll add some pink marker to the flowers, but I'll do that off camera because it's really hard to get up close when I'm this far away. So I'm going to call it finished on the little flower postcard. Had to deal with a few of those little mistakes and whatnot, but I think what I'll do is maybe put in some black dots, or put in more black, or maybe put in some white dots, or add some more colour to the flowers with some pencils. But I'll do it away from Miss Muffet, who is on the warpath at the moment and keeps bumping me, and I'll have to remember for Watercolor Wednesday to lock Millie up somewhere. But anyway, it was really nice to use the Tombow markers again, and even though it's not perfect and whatnot, I still really like the look of this card, and it was super nice to use the Tombow markers again and get back into using those. So until next time, happy colouring.